Hey, it's Abigail and welcome back to my channel. Today, as you saw in the thumbnail, I am drawing a sun goddess. I'm actually redesigning her. So what you're seeing right now is the original design. I did a 100-day challenge, which I did not make it to all 100 days, back in 2020, where it was like a character design challenge. I tried to take something and draw it as a character every day for 100 days. I probably did it for like 50 or 60. I didn't quite make it to the 100, but and this was sun, and so I kind of created this cute little sun goddess, and I originally sketched her in a sketchbook and brought it into Procreate on my iPad. And I really loved her, and she was a print in my shop for a long time. I loved the little cape and the little bodice that had like the sun on it and the sun in the back, and I did some pretty interesting things with lighting. And I've had my iPad for less than a year at this point, and I still didn't have like a style. Like, I was still like nervous sketching in it, which is why a lot of times I would still sketch on paper. But I had so much fun with lighting, because that kind of the stuff that you can't do on paper. Well, I mean, some people can. They're very talented. I could not, however, recreate this on paper, and it was just, I fell in love with this design. So I really wanted to, when the time came this year, I have very much so improved my digital artwork. I have been putting a lot of time, logging a lot of hours on the old iPad, and I have just improved so much that I wanted to revisit this design and kind of make her something that is a better representation of my skill level. And so, she was a print in my shop. I loved her. And I think eventually, when I get print paper again, I will have the new version as a print as well, and maybe a sticker. So you can keep an eye on my shop for that. Link is down below, as well as to all my other social medias and stuff, which I do post there more often. I am posting here a lot more often than I used to, which is about once a week, but over there, so much more. Anyway, so this is the completed look. I added some texture over top, and there she is. I loved the skin color, I liked the muted colors, which is something that I didn't really keep in my new one. There's a little sneaky peek, but I really wanted to push boundaries a little bit, and I've been very safe with my colors like lately, so I wanted to push it, and which is where the brighter yellow came from. But I did sketch her here in Procreate, which is usually, the sketching and the inking is usually the longest part of my digital process. It's not really in my traditional process, it's mostly the coloring, I'd say, but no, sketching on the iPad, I get so much more into it for some reason. But I started with, I knew I wanted her to have a different position, because the reason her arms were hidden in the cape by a cape in the original one is because I didn't like drawing them. And I was like, no, a goddess doesn't need to hide any parts of her body. And I had tried to make her really curvy in the other one, and I thought, you know what? Let's make her curvier. So I really wanted to make sure that she had like big full breasts and like a little tummy chub, and she has thicker arms and stuff, and she doesn't have like the dainty little ankles, because you know what? Big women exist, and it was a fun time. And I wanted to keep her curly hair, but give her hair that is more fitting of an African American woman, which is what I did here. Curlier, actually fuller, like lifted off her head a little bit more, but yeah. And I loved kind of the symmetry, but not quite, because one side is a little different than the other. In the sketch, her one boobie was a little smaller, but I do fix that with the line art. I make sure they're more closer to the same size at least, because yeah, that would not be very, like, I know they're sisters, not twins, but at some point it's just too drastic though, you know? Like, yeah, anyway. But I ink now mostly I do actually a lot of my coloring in the dry ink brush on Procreate because I just like the texture it gives, and I like how it, like, you know, it's kind of like a brush. It's because it's like a brush pen kind of thing. You can get like really skinny and really fat lines in like one stroke. So that is honestly what I use for a majority of my coloring and stuff always. Sometimes I'll use the gouache paint, but mostly dry ink. I will live and die by that brush. I love it so much. Once I discovered it, I was done. That was me flashing the other one back and forth because whenever I'm really attached to a piece, I show my husband and I make him look at like the before, after. So I have to put it in there so that way everybody can see. And I did too want to, you can't see, but I had a reference pulled up on my iPad of the other one because I was pulling colors from it loosely. Anyway, so here I wanted to do this fun thing where her foot, so like because she's a sun goddess, I wanted her to like have light like coming from her and so it's like she's stepping, and wherever she steps turns like warm and is like lighting up. So that was, I don't know. I see people do that like once when I was like 15, where people would make like hands or feet or something like dark, like a different color, and like blend it into like a normal skin tone. And I've been obsessed ever since. I don't use it too often, but when I do, it's my favorite part. So there I am working in her face. I gave her more makeup, I think, than I did in the other one, because that's something I really love. I love putting makeup on my digital art. It's fun because I actually treat it like real makeup. And I wanted to stick though with the original white hair because I had white almost like the sun bleached it of all color, but I decided to give it a little bit more of a natural gradient. So here I did not plan out colors in advance, so you see me like go back and forth with the colors on her bodice, and I do apologize if you hear me breathing a lot. I'm trying to get it all out like fast because it's not a long video, and for some reason that makes me feel like I just ran 10 miles. So anyway, but I also didn't want to be too afraid to layer like some of the same colors, so you can see that there's not a lot of differentiation between the different yellows and stuff, but I really liked that. And she is the sun goddess, and the planets all revolve around the sun, so I gave her this cute little belt, and I used kind of sharper star almost like motifs as well as circles like planets and the sun obviously kind of throughout the whole piece. And so I gave her like a literal planet belt, and then the bands on her arms are also meant to represent the planets too, and I kind of pick colors out for them as well. But I did swirling pattern there on her like chest, on the bodice part of it, because I don't know, I felt like, you know, the sun's rays, I like the more natural, like swishy kind of look versus like the straight hard lines. And then I started working the background, which was very fast, a lot faster than I thought it was going to, because I did use the little clouds, but I did more sky, less clouds, and I had the sun kind of coming from behind her and her foot like lighting up the path, and I loved using the original colors of the yellows, the oranges, and the purples. There's a little less of the like kind of brown color almost, and like a little less orange as well, but overall I liked it a lot. I did go in and color some line art, and then I add the special effects in with a couple different, an overlay and a screen, as well as a multiply layer for the shadows. I did do a little less on the shading than I did before, just because it really darkened the piece more so than I didn't want to do that one to this one. I liked the less shading because, you know what, she glows from within. As my cats are running around, because that now is when they need to chase each other. But anyway, and I also went in, I loved the sparkle effect that I gave her, almost like little bits of magical rays are coming out from her foot and the sun, and it was just fantastic. I loved this piece so much. It's actually my background right now. But anyway, if you like this, please like, subscribe, comment. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to follow me on my other socials, they are all linked below. My TikTok both the Instagrams and everything. And I'll do a couple close-ups as well as a comparison. That was me filming TikToks. I did not cut it out because I wanted to be real with y'all. Anyway, so there is the close-up of it, and then there they are compared. So I think I can say that I have improved a little bit. Have a great day. Bye.